What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on a post that recently came across my Facebook page, right? And this is Dominique Wilkins, another NBA great. Dominique Wilkins, him and Michael Jordan had a lot of battles back in the day, man. I mean, their battles was epic. Um, Dominique played for the Atlanta Hawks. As you know, Mike played for the Chicago Bulls, but they had some epic battles going back and forth. And for the most part, Mike came out on top of all those. Most of those battles. Atlanta would beat Chicago every once in a while, but Dominique always did his thing. Michael Jordan had the utmost respect for Dominique. And I remember watching those dunk contests, right, with Michael Jordan and Dominique. Um, and Dominique won one, Mike won one. The one that, as a matter of fact, the one dunk contest that Michael Jordan beat and he won, it was in Chicago. A lot of people think that Dominique actually won that dunk contest, right? And to be honest with you, I tend to agree. I think that Dominique won that dunk contest. I mean, Mike had some nice dunks, some pretty dunks, you know, some of the best dunks I ever seen. But being that Mike was in Chicago, for that All Star game, they gave it to Mike. It was close. It wasn't like like Dominique was. It was. But to be honest, Dominique won that dunk contest. But man, I'm gonna get into this post that I seen, and it says that Mike walked into our locker room. Dominique said, "This is a quote from Dominique Wilkins. Uh, Mike, Jordan walked into the locker room, suited up, looked at Randy Whitman, and says, 'Lace him up. It's going to be a long night.' He dropped 61 that night, right? And so that's just typical of the kind of things that Mike did. Um, and usually Mike wasn't really a big talker, but when he said he was going to do something, he did it. And that's why I think that Dominique had the utmost respect for Mike. Um, and I like these kind of quotes coming from other superstars because in my mind it just solidifies like Mike being the GOAT. Like I can't recall, like people don't talk in reverence about LeBron James the way they do Michael Jordan. I never hear these kind of stories with people saying, well, you know, somebody was, LeBron James just put so much fear in their heart that, that they couldn't really, you know what I mean? That they because they thought that LeBron James was going to murder him. Like most of the time, people had an utmost confidence when they're going against LeBron that they can beat LeBron. I can't recall the Celtics when they had Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. They wasn't intimidated by him. Who was it? The Dallas Mavericks. They weren't intimidated by LeBron when he was playing in Miami. Who else? The Spurs. Steph Curry and his teams. But when people talk about Mike, and I do a lot of these videos of ex NBA players who actually played against Mike, and they had just so much confidence in him and so much respect for Mike because Mike was that dude. No way that what I mean you could get away with trying to intimidate Mike or if Mike thought you had any kind of confidence, or if Mike thought you might have any kind of edge, Mike would just he would squash that immediately. Mike just wanted to dominate at all costs, and like I said, that's why when I do these videos of people that I know that Mike respected and that battled Mike, and people who Dominique really, Dominique battled Magic Johnson. Him and Larry Bird had some epic battles with the Boston Celtics. Those battles was epic, but Dominique, he just couldn't seem to get over that hump. He couldn't get past Boston when they played against the Celtics. But I mean, he had some epic battles with Larry Bird. He couldn't get past Mike, when Mike was, Mike and the Chicago Bulls. But if everybody around the league just has so much respect for Dominique, it's and so coming from Dominique, this story right here and this quote right here, and it's high praise. It's not like Dominique was he wasn't a journeyman. He was like in his day, Dominique was one of the most respected ball players in the NBA. And only thing difference between Mike and Dominique, I think Dominique didn't have as much help as Mike, or I don't know. I just think that Dominique just wasn't as good as Mike. Dominique. I remember Dominique had he had Kevin Willis, he had Doc Rivers. He had they had some pretty good pieces in Atlanta when Dominique was there. So I can't say he didn't have help, but I just it's just that he was going up against Mike, and Mike was one of the greatest of all times, and so that's really what that was the big hurdle for not only Dominique but for a lot of other ball players during that time. And so, yeah, man, I always say consider the source, right? And what I mean by that is you just take into account like who's complimenting Michael Jordan, and what their role was. I never hear of anybody who played against Michael Jordan just not speaking highly of Mike when when they went up against Mike. And really the only ex-ball player who says that Mike wasn't the greatest is Isaiah Thomas. But other than that, it's it's pretty much unanimous. All those old school guys that came up during Mike's era, just it's just unanimous. Mike was that dude. And so, that's why I like to do, go these quotes and everything, man, because it just solidifies the fact that Mike was that dude. Mike was the GOAT. And nobody else really could touch him. And so with that being said, man, that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.